Applause for Joey Flash Wolves as well, really stepping up here and showing what they got. Unfortunately, not enough to take down TSM, but certainly put up a good fight. And just summarizing this last game, running a double AD comp, and I think trying to make things happen or feeling like they had to make things happen early because they don't want to fall too far behind, obviously, with double AD, and it's just backfiring.
You know, they really had a good plan for the early game, particularly with the warding, and they just kind of forced things in not only in the wrong manner, but in the wrong places as well. Trying to focus on the Lulu and the Sion lane. Just let the game scale out. You have a fantastically late game scaling composition, and just lack of patience cost them the game.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Santorin, despite not having the strongest early game, I think he had some pretty good engages later on. I do think he responded to some of the ganks in a better manner than we've seen. But the big picture over the course of the series, that's a guy who was carried to a win by his solo laners. While Turtle went back to his North American roots, we saw a ton of flashes in and aggressive, and he wasn't punished in this series, but he can't afford to fall back into his old ways because yesterday was super safe, super controlled, super calculated. So for Team Solo Mid, this was a pretty convincing win once they got the lead. It took them a shorter period of time to close it out, but it was very clear that they were playing it passive, playing it safe, playing it patient.
Interesting to me as well, because that was one of the main things we were focusing on coming into the tournament. Santorin with not that much international experience. We had this stint where he was with Wembley with C9 Eclipse / H2K, not really able to do it. Then he went over to Team Coast, and we had a couple of question marks, and I do feel like they haven't all been solved in this series, and they've added a couple for me. What about you, Crumbs?
Well, Santorin has shown that he can be a great reactive jungler, but being the aggressive one to place those deep wards by himself, we haven't seen that from him, and he's going to have to be at that level if they want to take the final.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. If we, conceivably see them against the GE Tigers, and of course we still have that second semifinal match to watch yet, but if you look at it, it's looking favored for GE. TSM, I think, can maybe safely plan on that one, and if they get there, yeah, they were able to beat Flash Wolves convincingly in their last two games, but they're going to need to take it to that next level. I think you're absolutely right with Santorin needing to be, a little bit more on the ball as far as hitting those ganks. Otherwise, TSM really did a good job that last game of taking advantage of every little mistake the Flash Wolves kind of handed to them.
Yeah, absolutely good adaptation. I think they primarily have to think back of what they did on day one, because that was very impressive from their side, and see how they can translate it and show us in the final tomorrow. And for now, we're going to hear one of the members of TSM